Hey, welcome in to another exciting, spellbinding, action-packed edition of Market Takes. We have a just absolutely packed week of data for you coming out this week, but I am going to tell you the three most important things that you need to be watching out for this week. I am Dion Rabouin, reporter at the Wall Street Journal. This is Market Takes. I know you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. Listen, this week, like I said, we got a lot coming, but the first thing you're going to want to watch this week, we get the U.S. retail sales report. I'm going to tell you why that's going to be so important this week. Next, we get three major reports on the U.S. housing market. I'm going to tell you what all three of those are, what to look for in those. And then we get some earnings reports from big name retailers, Home Depot, Walmart, and Target, all coming out this week. So we're going to hear a lot about the U.S. consumer, the health of the U.S. consumer, and that's going to tell us about the U.S. economy, spending, all of those things, because as you know, those are what really drive the U.S. economy. So let's get into it. First things first, let's talk about the U.S. retail sales report that is going to be out on Tuesday for April. I want to put this up here on your screen right now, just give you an idea of what we're talking about. Now, as you look over there on the right, when we get into 2023 and those months leading into 2023, you see there that we have negative month-over-month numbers. So in November, December, you saw retail sales were negative. Then January, we got a big pickup, up about 3%. And then in February and March, we have seen a decline again on those retail sales numbers. So that's showing us right now that we've got a worrisome trajectory. We're seeing a consistent theme and a consistent pattern. As inflation has been falling along with expectations, we are also seeing those retail sales numbers. Again, those aren't pulled out, those aren't real numbers, those are basically not inflation adjusted. So we are seeing overall retail sales declining month over month for the last 5 months. And if we get another decline in April, that'll be 5 out of the last 6 months. We have seen, again, that last month was down 1% after 0.2% negative the month before. Economists are projecting that we're going to get a 0.8% increase in April, and so that would sort of buck this trend we've seen. But as you see there on your screen, consistently we've been negative for the last 5 months. I want to put another chart up here on your screen to just show you what this looks like year over year. And as you can see, just a consistent decline. Ever since we hit that 10% number in July, retail sales have been coming down, coming in each month, year over year. We're seeing a declining trend. And so we're seeing that both month over month and year over year. And that's just illustrating the overall trend and trajectory of retail sales as in declining spending. Spending is pulling back. Consumers not buying as much, really getting some of that inflation fatigue, even as inflation has been coming down. And we're also seeing that combined with another kind of worrisome trend. I want to put another chart up here on your screen here. And this is the U.S. initial jobless claims. This is the number of people filing for unemployment claims or saying, okay, I've lost my job, I need to get on unemployment, requesting for the government aid in that sector. And as you see, in 2023, the numbers had been going down, but we are seeing a pickup. And last week, we saw initial jobless claims at the highest since October 2021. So the number's still low. Broadly, overall, we're seeing still lower than average or lower than typical numbers on those initial jobless claims. But the trajectory, we're seeing a pickup of the trend. And like I said, the highest in almost 2 years last week. So still low, but that trajectory could be worrisome. And that's just, that chart on your screen right there is illustrating what we're seeing in the initial jobless claims market, in the unemployment market. That could be worrisome. So last thing, let's talk about housing. Housing, aka shelter, was the biggest component of core CPI inflation, which picked up more than expected last month. We saw and we have seen consistently over the last few months, housing has been a major piece of the overall inflation picture. And this week we'll get 3 more reports. So we get the NAHB Housing Market Index, that's out on Tuesday. Then we will get housing starts, that's out on Wednesday. And then the big kahuna, existing home sales on Thursday. I want to put a chart up here on your screen to show you what we're seeing in existing home sales and why maybe this could be worrisome. You see a clear pickup in the home or the median sales prices and the average price for an existing home. You're seeing a pickup there, and that's really what we've seen all year is housing is starting to pick back up in terms of price. That chart just illustrating a very clear short term, but a very clear trend of housing prices starting to get more expensive. We have seen that start to rise again after that long-term decrease that you saw also. March marked the first yearly rent price decrease in 36 months, according to rent.com. And it followed 6 consecutive months of single-digit increases, which means we were seeing a consistent downturn in terms of price increases. However, we are seeing monthly rental rates increase 5.3% in the last week of March, according to that same survey. So again, this just showing us the trend is picking back up, and we know and we have seen consistently going back for most of about a year now. Shelter or housing is a big piece of that overall inflation picture, and we're seeing housing prices start to pick back up. That is despite a 75% increase in inventory, as in more homes being built. We are seeing more inventory on the shelf, but more inventory on the shelf. We're seeing more inventory in the market, as in more houses, but that's not bringing the price down because demand is still so high. So you'll want to watch out for each of those reports, with the big one being existing home sales on Thursday. Last but not least, we get Walmart, Target, and Home Depot earnings all out this week. Home Depot will kick things off on Tuesday. That's big because of what we just talked about, those prices for existing home sales, and we're seeing a consistent increase in home builders. Those home builder stocks have really just been shooting up the charts, seeing big gains for home building companies. But is that translating to the real economy? Is that making more jobs for folks? Are folks going out and buying things to furnish these homes? Or is that just an investment boom? Is that just folks, who are delivering what was already promised? We will learn a lot about that in those Home Depot earnings that we get on Tuesday, and that's going to tell us a lot. Thursday, we hear from Walmart. That is the biggest retailer in the U.S. That's going to tell us a lot about jobs, about spending, about how consumers doing, grocery, general goods. How is Walmart doing? And that's going to tell us a lot about how other retailers are likely performing throughout the economy and how much consumers are spending and going out there and buying. And then also on Thursday, we get Target. We'll also get TJX, TJ Maxx, Burlington, those companies. They'll tell us about the kind of budget-conscious consumer. So we're going to hear from all three of those companies this week. You're going to want to watch out for all those, for what they tell us about the market, about the consumers. And I think the market, the stock market, the bond market, all those markets that we'll talk about on Market Takes are going to have some major reactions depending on how these come in. So that sets us up tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Be here while we unpack the retail sales report right here on Market Takes. I'm your host, Dion Rabouin, reporter at the Wall Street Journal. We hope to see you next time.